Welcome to Action Network News, a monthly videocast focusing on what is happening, all the events of the African and Caribbean student community of Montreal. So in the next few minutes, you're going to be introduced to the groups that make up the network. You're going to find out about their main events, so you'll know what to participate in, how to contribute, where to show up. Then we have a little treat. You're going to hear some spoken word by Aliyah, a marvelous artist who will share some of her deep thoughts with you. And finally, you're going to be introduced to our newest endeavor, Afro-Pundit, which is going to be a student-run talk show, and it will focus on political and controversial issues that affect the Black community. So stay tuned, it's going to be a great show.
Did we forget to mention our exclusive interview with Soca Queen Alison Hinds? All that and more coming up on Action Network News. We headed to the 10th floor of the Concordia Hall building to catch up with ASAP.
I just like the Google. I don't know, but this one tells the truth.
Is association.
Oh, it's like
basically a microcosm of the African culture on campus. So what we're trying to do is bring you a little taste of how it is to be African in this society that is Canadian society, more particularly in Quebec. Quebec has a rich culture which tries to marry both the English-speaking and the French-speaking part, especially in Montreal. And what we're trying to do is to bring our little spice in it and make sure that any student that comes from Africa feels comfortable in this environment. That's why we have a very diverse, diverse background.
Next up, chilling in the BSN lounge at McGill.
Welcome to the BSN office. We are the Black Students Network of McGill University, and my name is Latoya Morgan. I'm one of the coordinators. BSN is a service here at McGill, and what we do is that we provide a library, provide a place for students to come, relax, meet other fellow students, either from Montreal or from away, and just to relax. You know, sometimes you need a family away from home, and BSN provides that atmosphere. ACSioN is part of the ACSioN network, and we're very proud to be a part of it because, you know, we believe that it serves a common purpose.
Engineers Unite. We found Nesmi McGill and Concordia in full collaboration in the Shatner basement.
Hey people, my name is Abdul. I'm from Nesmi McGill, I'm the president, and this is my colleague.
Aisha Clark, the VP Internal of Nesmi Concordia University. So what do we do here at Nesmi?
Let's see. The mission statement of NESB is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. I think that's right.
That's right.
Oh yeah. We the bomb, and we try to build responsible engineers, not just engineers, but responsible people that go to university. We try to encourage high school kids to further their education, become more responsible human beings. Concordia and McGill are trying to work hand in hand to further that cause, and we would love for anybody who's interested in joining NESB to please don't be afraid. Come up and talk to any one of us. Anything, Concordia?
So just come check us out anytime, Concordia or McGill, and NESB is in action.
NESB is in action.
We met QBMA at their Black and Promising mixer.
My name is Foster, and I'm an executive member of the QBMAYI. Today we're actually hosting our second annual Black and Promising event at Réseau. It's basically a chance to
So on my first meeting, I met a lot of black people who are dedicated and very driven, who want to network, and I feel that this is a perfect chance for me to make some connections now while I'm still in school, so that at least once I graduate,
Hello, my name is Sonia Tanisha. I am the internal coordinator of the Black Medical Association. We are also in action. We call to anyone who are interested in the sciences, in medicine, or any allied professions, whether it be nursing, physical therapy, psychology, any pharmacy, anything of that sort. We're here to help you. We help provide information and awareness about the scholarships that are available, the requirements for the programs, the opportunities to network with the professionals within your domain. Whether it be medicine, the Quebec Medical Association has the highest number of Black students within the record. So come and see us anytime. If you want to look us up, look up the Action Network.
Alors bonjour tout le monde, je suis dans le bureau de la ZOCAM avec le président de la ZOCAM, Monsieur Hassan.
Merci Dwight.
Comment ça va?
Bonjour, comment vas-tu?
Ouais, ça va bien. So, la ZOCAM a franchi une nouvelle année scolaire.
C'est ça.
Puis vous avez une nouvelle agenda, une nouvelle association, un nouveau comité exécutif. Puis votre agenda pour cette année, c'est quoi exactement?
L'agenda pour cette année de la ZOCAM va être surtout de se concentrer sur l'académique. On voulait prendre cette année un programme qui puisse centraliser, en fait, fédérer le maximum d'étudiants. Donc on a décidé de mettre en place un programme tout nouveau qui va s'appeler Horizon A+, où des étudiants vont venir, c'est pas du tutorat ni du mentorat, les étudiants vont s'organiser entre eux-mêmes pour en fait se donner de l'information pour mieux réussir dans leurs cours. Le but étant d'avoir A+, dans tous les cours.
Cool. Et puis, quand quelqu'un s'approche de l'assaut à ZOCAM, ils disent mais qu'est-ce que c'est ce truc, association pour faire des parties seulement ou pour juste pour les activités sociales ou...
C'est vrai que
le but principal de...
Le but principal de la ZOCAM, il y en a en fait deux. Nous avons deux mandats. Premièrement, de défendre l'intérêt des étudiants, de représenter l'intérêt académique et administratif des étudiants africains à l'UQAM. Et dans un deuxième temps aussi, de pouvoir montrer la culture africaine, de partager la culture africaine avec toutes les autres cultures qui sont représentées ici, tous les autres groupes qui sont représentés ici. Donc ça, ce sont les deux buts fondamentaux de l'association. Défendre les intérêts des étudiants et aussi promouvoir la culture africaine et partager la culture africaine avec tous les autres groupes présentés ici.
Question.
Merci Dwight.
Ouais, merci pour la production.
Il n'y a pas de quoi. La ZOCAM est en action.
Ouais.
Merci.
All right, salut.
Back at Shatner, we caught up with the McGill CSF.
Get on up, it's bobsled time! Good night everyone. This is the CSS of McGill University. My name is Alexander, I'm PR. Right here I have
Philippe and I'm the president.
And
Candice Leakett and I'm treasurer.
And we're here to promote our biggest event of the year. I don't want to make it sound like we're Caribbean people and we just want to throw parties, but we're throwing a huge one this time. It's a massive one. We're throwing
Fire Mania
people. And you know, I don't really know much, maybe I'm just ignorant, but who's coming?
Lil Thunder, Cover Fella, Fire Squad, all these big Montreal DJs.
And I think we have a
We're missing someone.
We have a big headline.
Alison Hinds!
Wait. Alison Hinds coming?
Straight from Barbados, first time Montreal.
Alison Hinds, tell me you know Alison Hinds. She's from Barbados. She's one of the biggest soca performers of the year. You know Roll It Gal? You ever hear it in Zen?
New CD coming out, yes.
You ever flex that song? Boy, when the girls hear that song, they get on wild, man.
For real.
That is our sixth song. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it out for now. My name is Alexander again.
Philippe is here.
Candice.
And we're representing CSS.
One of the biggest aims of the Action Network is to work in the community. On September 22nd, we hosted our first ever Action Community Convention. It wasn't just a social event. Members got the chance to network with extra academic Black organizations, forging real community links.
I'm very pleased to be here because I think this is a fantastic student initiative and we have to support the older generation. The Caribbean Pioneer, it's an organization which is, it was founded by Thelma Johnson, who was here, but she's already left about 20 years ago. And it is all the ladies who came at the time, 50 years ago. Some of them came with a domestic scheme. I don't know what that was. But now they've lived here, they're all prosperous, and they want to give back to the society. And this is our way. We give scholarships, we help the youth, we help our members, support our members and other members of the community.
Okay, wow, that sounds great. What do you think students could help the most?
Well, yeah. For instance, every year we have a tea party, which is a fundraiser, because, as I told you, we give scholarships. So the money from the tea party goes into the scholarship fund, And this year we had, usually we have waiters and we pay them. This year we had students volunteering and we did give them an honorarium, but it was nice and we're going to do that in the future. Try and involve the students in our efforts. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you again.
Very welcome. Yeah.
Next stop, the Shatner Ballroom, where the mass general meeting was in full swing.
No getting out of the square here. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shidra Day, President of McGill African Student Society. MAS brings together the African community in McGill. Some of our major events include the community dinner, which comes up on October 20th, and the annual cultural show, which will be taking place at Club Soda on March 16th. For more information about MAS, visit our website at www.mcgillmas.com. Thank you.
Dear viewers, we're in search of the CCSU office. It's a place that's notoriously hard to find, but I do have the address. I think it's actually I remember. It's H733-3. That's on the 7th floor of the building for all of you who aren't so familiar with it. And we're gonna go try and find it right now because it is kind of tucked into a corner. So let's go.
And this is our office for the Concordia Caribbean Student Union. So yeah, we have Haitians, we have
Grenadians,
yeah, and some other Caribbean people. and Jamaican people. We have people from Barbados and all over the place. But you guys have to come to the Culture Weekend. November 9th to 11th is going to be off the chain. We're planning it together as a unit. Sell off in here. Can't tell you guys what it's going to be like yet. It's going to be hot. And make sure you come, because I'll be there at the door doing the coat check, waiting for you guys. Okay?
Big artists coming on still.
Yeah. Sell off. Pot up, kaboom. All of the Jamaican them. Yeah. Alright. Bye.
Wine in season. It's 9th annual Cultural Weekend. Friday, November 9th, it's Naughty or Nice, featuring DJs from the MTL. And Saturday, November 10th, it's Sweeter Than Sugar inside the Rialto, 5272 Park Avenue. We have the Culture Show and the After Party featuring the Bandit, Scratch and Copper Shot from Jamaica. And also live performance by an international soca artist. If you want to know, you gotta show.
They say we have no hope. They say we show no love. They hate because they know we got the Midas touch. Everything we touch turns to gold and gets sold like hotcakes, faster than our ancestors that got sold in the slave trade. They won't let my brothers in the club because they say y'all look like thugs. Pants sagging, Tim's dragging. So what? Hypocrites still got that hip-hop banging. How they gonna discriminate against the race that creates 99% of the music they play? Their spots wouldn't be hot without that thug music they love so much. Black people, I tell you, we got the Midas touch. I heard Tommy Hilfiger calls black people niggas. But the moment we touch the clothing he sells, all of a sudden he marketing urban apparel, pulling in 6 figures off the style of us niggas. Dear Mr. Hilfiger, we the ones that made your shit hot when it came out. Ever since we stopped rocking it, now your shit is played out. Ayo, I could almost guarantee you that if everybody in the hood stopped rocking construction boots, Mr. Timberland would go bankrupt. Mrs. Karen, Monsieur Vuitton, Madame Chanel, y'all need to thank us. We popularized all your name brand shit. So I think we have every right to get rich off of bootlegging it. We even started a trend of wife beaters and white t-shirts. Sure enough, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. All of a sudden, these shirts is gold, so manufacturers start overprice tagging them. It seems to be a fad now to have hip-hop ads and commercials. Every major soft drink is guilty as charged. Turn around, they got Ludacris doing commercials for cars. McDonald's even had a campaign offering rap artists money just to mention their food products or their name in a rap song. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw Black Ronald McDonald doing the Crip Walk. They using hip hop to sell everything from burgers to sneakers. Reebok gave 50 Cent his own shoe and he's a self-professed gangster. Long as they capitalize, they forget about the anger. I try to rationalize why they use rap and people of this color black they so fear to sell their footwear, outerwear, underwear, and headgear. Seems to me the rationalization of the situation is capitalization. In some ways, we're like spokespeople for these products and corporations. They deny, don't realize we could either make them or break them. Back in the day, they used to say our lips are too big, our ass is too fat, and our skin is too black. Now, all of a sudden, all these women getting lipo sucked up to have fuller lips and big butts, getting cancer from the rays of the sun because they ain't dark enough. We were blessed from birth with the Midas touch, yet they acting like we need them when they the ones who need us. The same people who hate us and discriminate against us use us to get rich. I'm not saying it's anything to be proud of. What I'm saying is, without us, they ain't shit. Their own kids have adopted the whole hip-hop demeanor. The way they walk, the way they talk. They go into Ivy League schools rocking them same G-Unit sneakers, creating more animosity within their parents and teachers. Some can't stand the fact that we went from whip scars on our backs to having their children trying to act like us. They enslaved us out of fear instead of trying to comprehend. Now we're free, but they're still scared, so they mimic us instead. But no matter how hard they try, they can never walk in our shoes or see the truth from our eyes. Tears of joy we cry, 'cause God created us in the image of his love. And that's the reason why we got the Midas touch.
I'm Robert Goodrich and this is Afro-Pundit. Today's issue on today's show is the Jena 6, the controversial issue that is happening in the small Louisiana town, which is dividing this small town. And the question is, could the Jena 6 incident happen in Canada? Today's guests are Natasha of Concordia University, as well as Matthew of Concordia University, and they're going to give their opinions and analysis on the issue and whether this same issue that is happening in Louisiana could happen in Canada, particularly in Montreal, Toronto. Now, what are your thoughts on the Jena 6 incident, specifically the racial issue down there, and could that issue happen in Canada?
Well, I do think that the same issue could happen in Canada. I think it could happen in a lot of different places. With the Jena 6 issue, we saw that there were different racial groups in the schools, and the school wasn't able to really fix the problem, and it spilled far, far outside of school. And I think that could easily happen in Montreal, because you do have a lot of different groups in schools, and if the schools don't keep an eye on how the kids are interacting, little conflicts can come up, and if they're not stopped early on, then they will spill outside of the school.
Natasha?
Yes, I believe it can happen in Montreal. And if you look at the past, in high school, Haitian students were beaten up by white students. And what they had to do is to group themselves and fight against this. But then they didn't had those consequences. They didn't go to jail. They weren't threatened to go to jail for this. What was the other question?
Well, the question is could the same issue in Louisiana, the incident where there was an altercation between white and black students, and allegedly the black students hit one of the white students, and the black students were given a harsher sentence than the white students. Now, the question is, could that happen here? Is that an injustice? Could that type of injustice happen in Canada?
Yes, it can happen in Canada, and it certainly has happened. And as you can see, like the minorities here, they don't have, they are not well represented here.
No, go ahead, you're fine.
I don't know how to say.
Well, you could collect your thoughts, and then how about I ask another question? The thing is that usually when we look at Canada and the United States, we share a border and everything, and we usually look at what Canada does better, what the United States does better. It's usually us versus them. Now, do you think that Canada, okay, we have established that this could happen in Canada, but do you think Canada would actually deal with this situation much differently than how they're dealing with it in the United States? And the other question is, usually both sides like to point fingers, and we like to, in the United States and Canada, we judge each other very harshly. And sometimes what you find is there's the comments saying, well, Canadians would say, well, look at the racial issues in the United States, you know, you guys can't resolve racial issues such as slavery and that sort of thing. And then some Americans would turn around and say, oh, well, you can't sever your aboriginal problems in that issue. So do you think that one country could handle it better than the other, or do you think that just both countries are off base when it comes to racial issues, depending on it, keeping it within the context of whether the same Jena 6 incident could happen here? Was that an open-winded question?
The question was for me. Well, I think that what happened in the U.S. with the Jena 6 is really that when the kids were charged, there wasn't any media attention surrounding it, and what happened is that the charges were really trumped up. They were charged with attempted murder instead of something more realistic like an assault charge, and I think that could really happen anywhere if people don't have representation and they can't defend themselves properly. Then I think the legal system can sort of take advantage of them. And I think what happened in Jena is that the town was really against these kids already because they ganged up and beaten up a white kid, and then they were able to use that to sort of compose an all-white jury and like start the process against the kids, and really the way it turned out was sort of unfair.
Yes, it's very unfair that, like you said, that those people were punished like this. It's not their fault. Like they couldn't count on the school to protect them. Imagine you're going to school, you're going to a peaceful place to learn about sciences, math, and also about living in a society, and you're not even at peace. So if like the school weren't there for
But can you enact peace with violence? Because I think the whole issue is not whether yes, the charges were trumped up, and yes, these kids, these young black men should have been charged with a lesser charge than murder. And you mentioned the saying that kids should be able to go to school in peace. But what about the fact is, like, for example, if I do something to you, yes, I have the right to retaliate, but don't I also have the option to turn the other cheek? Like, for example, if I go to school in Montreal North and let's say that I'm of Haitian descent and a francophone student who is white is making fun of me, and he hits me, should I have the right to hit him? Yeah. Yes, but the question is that should we resort to violence? Basically the question, is it justified?
No, it's not about violence, it's about protecting yourself. If you cannot protect yourself, who's gonna protect you? So
you're saying the school failed?
Yeah.
So basically the school failed these kids.
Exactly.
If they had to defend themselves. Well, that's a very valid point, because if I'm going to a school and I'm not condoning the violence or anything, but if I'm going to a school and you go to the principal and say, look, these kids are being racist, they're being sexist, or whatever they're being, and they come to the principal asking them for guidance and help, and then the principal just turns their cheek, you know, what can you resort to? You can resort to your parents, and even sometimes your parents can't even do it.
If those kids didn't react, who knows where they would have ended up? They would have been maybe killed by those white kids.
Well, I don't want to go back to Louisiana, but there's sometimes people could argue, and this is not necessarily true nowadays, but today, but it could be fact. It's like, for example, back in the day, that if someone were to hit a white person or retaliate against a white person against them, they could be killed. So to move aside from that issue, do you think that are there ways that the Canadian government, law enforcement, schools could prevent this from happening in Canada? If there was an issue to arouse in, say, an urban school in Toronto, or not even just an urban school, a rural school, for example, in Quebec, which probably has a small minority population who don't feel stimulated into that community, and they're being harassed by people who are established in the neighborhood. I mean, this is not just an urban issue. School violence or racism is just an urban issue. We could also say it's an issue that happens outside of the city. And what are ways that government officials, the police, could prevent this from happening?
Like, for example, there was this big issues about reasonable accommodation. So what they did is they had meetings with the general population so people could go and express themselves. But from what I heard from those meetings is that people were like, the Quebecers were going there, they would just talk about the anger, though it wasn't a discussion because the minorities weren't really there. It was just a monologue. They were just expressing the anger instead of just sitting there and trying to find a solution, trying to know about each other. And also here, for example, the example you were giving about Montreal North. If you go in Montreal North, the schools, like there are a lot of segregation in those schools. Like you have schools where the main population is Haitian people, black people, and you would have other schools with white people. But we're living in a society, the school should be mixed. Because
or even if schools are mixed, for example, I forget what book it's called, but there was a book addressing the issue of why do certain people sit at different areas of the lunch table. You have go to the lunch table, there's the Asian table, and there's the white table, and then there's the black table. So yes, there is segregation within even diverse schools, I can argue, and also within the school districts where you have predominantly white schools and black schools. But we're moving off a little bit of topic here, but could we go back to your opinion on what can the Canadian government can do to, the police could do to prevent this? Or is it something that the government can't do? Is it something within ourselves that we have to do in order to make sure that something like this does not happen?
Well, I think it...
Or is it a combination of everything?
I think it really goes back to, if we're looking at just the issue of Jena and something like it, I think it goes back to schools doing a better job of educating students that mutual respect is important. So there shouldn't really be just a white tree or a black tree or a Chinese tree where everybody sits under it and nobody else can sit there. I think what we should try to do is have a school where everybody goes together and everybody sort of learns from each other, and there's more of an exchange of ideas, maybe not just learning math, English, and subjects like that, but learning about the other people who you go to school with, or just the other people who are going to be in your community and who you're going to have to work with in general.
I'm Robert Goodrich, and you have just seen and heard two perspectives on the Jena 6 issue and on whether it could happen within Canada. Well, that's our issue for today, and thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Hello dear viewers, I'm here with the Queen of Soca, Miss Alison Hinds, and she gave us a wonderful, fantastic performance last night at Fire Mania, hosted by the Caribbean Student Society of McGill and Malga K Promotions. She's also here to promote her new solo debut album called, you guessed it, Soca Queen. And we're very happy to have you here with us, Alison. Yeah, how has Montreal been treating you so far?
Oh, treating me very, very well. I cannot complain at all. It's a short trip, but you know, I've been feeling the love for sure. And last night was crazy. It was crazy.
Indeed. Oh my gosh, we're so proud to have such a wonderful representative of the culture here in Montreal.
Thank you.
You know, and yeah, actually, your new debut album is called Soca Queen.
That's right.
Now, how did you get that name? How did you come up with that name for the album?
Well, I mean, the name came from my fans. That's what my fans have called me over the years. You know,
Right.
It wasn't a name that I gave myself. You know, I'm just Alison Hinds. You know, with Square One, and we were doing our thing. And just over the years, because Square One was known for consistency, we were known for a high standard of our music and for creating classics.
Indeed.
And every time we hit the stage, it was energy every time. We gave of our all the time. And that's a part of who I am as a person and as an artist. And you know, I look at it as a term of endearment from my fans and supporters, and that's how they started to refer to me. I mean, even in regular conversation, you know, I have friends that come up to me, Queen, how are you? take, you know, so we felt that it would be the most appropriate name for first album. So.
Well, I agree. I think it's quite fitting. I feel like something is bulbing, you know, inside of me. I'm sitting next to the Soca Queen. What? Wow, I'm like cloud 9, but you can't see it. All right. But yeah, so our wonderful Soca Queen is here from the island of Barbados.
That's right.
And it's very interesting because Barbados it's where your culture is from, it's your heritage, but actually, like a lot of people who trace their ancestry to the Caribbean and people who identify with the Caribbean of West Indian descent, you're actually born outside of the Caribbean.
That's right.
So how does that impact your feeling of identity and your solidarity with people of the Caribbean? I mean, because I think it's interesting when a lot of people who were born outside of the Caribbean go back, they kind of feel like they're fishes out of water, in a sense. How did you feel when you went back, and how have you adjusted? Or
I never really felt that way.
Okay. Wow.
I was born in England and I identify with England. I spent my childhood growing up in London. But my mom started taking me to Barbados every year, at least, during the summer, for summer vacation. So I began to I had friends, I had family there, so that kind of made it easier. I had tons of cousins to play with, and so that I think that's what helped to make my transition easy. I mean, there were things that I had to get used to, like cockroaches and millipedes and crickets and there were different things. Before on my first trip going to Barbados, my mother said to me, "Well, Alison, we're going to Barbados and there are no sidewalks." I was like, "What?" And I was about 7 years old. There are no sidewalks. What do? You walk in the road? But how can you do that? There are cars in the road. But it was, there was some adjustments, obviously culturally. But I fell in love with Barbados on my very first visit as a child, and when I eventually moved there, it was easy. It was easy for me to just go, get into it. And I was young, so as a child, children, they assimilate very easily, and and I got a Bajan accent real quick, and it was down the road from there. So I identify England and Barbados are my homes. Obviously the Caribbean is more my home because now I've been there longer than I was in England. But when I do return to England, I feel just as comfortable. I go to my old neighborhood and see where I grew up and where I ran around and played, and so it's I make the link with the two. So
and I think that's a wonderful thing because actually a lot of Caribbean people, they sort of feel like they're a little disconnected, or more than they should be, and they feel like it's difficult to get back in touch once they leave and come back. But it's not impossible. It's not.
No, it's not. You just open yourself up to it and just
Right. Wow. So yes, actually, back to your album. This is your solo debut. So this is the first time that you're not part of the mega sensation group Square One.
That's right.
That is, basically this. It's a group that has really produced quite a few classics.
Oh yeah.
In soca.
For sure.
And it's something that sometimes people might say, "Wow, well you're breaking out on your own." So there's this big question mark hanging in the air, and especially with the new album. So what can we expect from the new album in terms of content? What the new stuff and the old stuff?
Well, I've actually redone a couple of my past hits because they're not old. They're still, very, very hot, to say the least. I redid, we reworked Togetherness, kept the same flavor, but just kind of reworked the music a little bit. Also Ladies Rule, which is a favorite of the ladies, because again, it's a woman empowerment song. And Faluma is also on this album.
that will make any fete on fire. Get ready to
That's right. That's right. We felt, my manager really felt that Faluma should be on the album and that it should get exposed to the world market because West Indian community in the Caribbean and outside love that track, and we felt that it was a really good track to also put on the album, and we didn't have to do anything with it. It was like that song could go as is, right vibe, right energy, everything. With the new stuff, there's a couple of like crossover tracks I have on there. Thunder is a reggaeton vibe. That was one of the songs that I did. That's right. That's gonna be one of the follow-up singles from the album.
All right.
And there's another one called The More You Get, which has kind of a more of a commercial feel to it.
Okay.
But still keeping the Caribbean, you know, the Caribbean
right.
vibe. And so my vocal is very me, you
Right.
know. There's also a ballad on the album called Island Girl, which I enjoyed doing.
Right.
Really, really nice vibe, just very cool and very laid back. I think that a lot of people are going to be able to identify with that. So we have, of course, you know, the party soca tunes are on it. So what we wanted is to make sure that my core audience, which is, you know, my West Indian community, wherever they are in the world, could have an album that has music on there that they can identify with and that's going to keep them happy, as well as have music that is going to appeal to the wider market as well, and, you know, take soca into the worldwide market. And we've been able to make that marriage.
Right. Well, I'm very, very happy that you had that focus, and think it's really interesting to see the kind of growth that soca has made in the last decade, especially.
Yes.
I mean, it's really something that I remember when I was growing up. And in school, I used to say, I know, you know, I talk about Square One,
right?
And you know, I talk about some of, you know, the older people. I talk about, you know, any type of calypso stuff, anything that had to do with the Caribbean. It was like it was invisible. It's
correct.
Like outside of the Caribbean community,
That's
it's like
right.
people didn't know it existed, and they
right.
thought it was weird. And then now this huge surge of enthusiasm and interest has come, and I think the genre is better for it.
And you know, we're working towards actually getting a genre for soca, because there is no genre out there.
Okay.
Roll It Gal is in the reggae genre because there's no soca genre out there.
Wow.
So that's to show you how invisible soca is to the rest of the world.
Right.
So we want to work to, and it's not, you know, it can't just be me. You know, there are tons of soca artists, there are lots of us, and we need to, you know, kind of forge ahead and let people know that there's a music called soca, and that is great music. It deserves to be a genre in the world and not kind of lumped into world music.
Exactly.
And that there are lots of good artists that are producing good music.
Right.
So, you know, that's one of my goals, to make that happen at some point. And it's, you know, it's a fight, but it's a fight that I believe in. I believe in soca music. I believe that it can make it on the world stage. And, you know, with my album, with my music, and whoever else's music is gonna come along, you know, I'm hoping to be able to make that step and take soca music to mainstream. That's where it needs to be. That's where in order for it to get recognized.
Right. Well, I think you're definitely doing some very important pioneering steps in this process. And it's interesting that you talked about some of the tracks that you had on the album, like Togetherness.
Yes.
And I think there's been this overarching theme, and a lot of the things that you speak about, I think there's a lot about you know, women's empowerment.
Right.
There's a lot about unity, togetherness.
That's right.
And actually, as part of the African and Caribbean Students Network of Montreal, something we really, really focus on is unity between these different peoples, especially between the Caribbean and Africa.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
Actually, you sang an amazing song last night, which I hadn't heard in a long time, Ragamuffin.
Yes.
Ragamuffin. Towards the end of the song, you start talking about all these countries,
that's
Africa,
right.
you give me the culture and all that stuff.
That's right.
What
that's
inspired
right.
The lyrics to that
well,
song?
the writer was Terry Arthur. He was in Square One.
Right.
He wrote quite a few of my tracks. He wrote Basil D, I. He actually wrote the intro to Togetherness, the Passe, Let Me See. But the song itself was written by a guy called Daddy Iroy.
Okay.
He was a Guyanese songwriter living in Barbados.
Right.
But when he wrote Ragamuffin, that was his goal. He was like, we have to make that link and understand that our ancestry is in Africa. You know, there are young people in the Caribbean who are like, well, you know, I'm Grenadian or I'm Vincentian, and, you know, I'm Bajan. It's like, yes, you were born in Barbados, but how did you get there?
That's right.
You know, your ancestry is in Africa. That's where our links are. You know, and through Ragamuffin, even with the video, you know, the video had elements of some Maasai dancers and all that kind of stuff, and it was very much very Afrocentric. It was like, yes, we're Barbadians, we're West Indian, but this is our ancestry, and that's how we wanted to make the link. Ragamuffin is a favorite as well.
Yeah. Wow. So yes, I'm very happy to hear that. It's true. When we talk about identity, there's so many different layers.
Yes.
And they don't necessarily have to contradict each other.
Right.
They can complement each
Of
other
course,
and
of
create
course.
the full person and the Soca Queen that we see here today.
Yes.
So actually, your album is some of the proceeds are going towards some very interesting goals.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk about those charities?
Well,
which you
I am
have
part
lined
of
up?
I'm part of a movement. It's called I Love My Caribbean Child, and it is something that is focusing on minority, especially minority families, kids within the U.S. at this point, and it's shining a light on them, because sometimes even within the Black community, Black Americans and Caribbean people are still, there's still a separation. And Caribbean children who are maybe second or third generation sometimes get lost in the mix. So this is something that is focusing on them and on their parents, and saying to the parents, we want y'all to really get involved, to know what's going on, to find out about any associations that can help, that can help your child to succeed within the system that is there, because obviously as there's still color, there's still race, racism and different things. So not only they're fighting the color barrier, but they're also fighting because they come from the Caribbean, and it's like, oh well, you come from third world.
Oh yes,
you
hear that all the time.
You don't know anything, and do you know about the internet and these kind of and it's like these kids are getting lost. So there's shine a light on Caribbean children and Latina, and just kind of they're gonna be some town meetings, some town hall meetings as well, and encouraging Caribbean parents to come out and really get involved with the schools, the teachers, the whoever they need to get involved with, to make sure that their children do not fall through the cracks. So that's one of the things. It's called I Love My Caribbean Child. And there's a website called ILoveMyCaribbeanChild.com, and that has like all the information that they could possibly need.
Wow, I Love My Caribbean Child. I think that's a wonderful initiative.
Thank you.
And so
I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm really happy. There are other celebs as well. There are other Black celebrities and so on that are involved with it as well, and we're acting as ambassadors basically to just kind of get the message out there.
Wow. So as an ambassador for the Caribbean, you do have quite a bit of attention that you can focus towards powerful initiatives
That's
like
right,
this. I think it's very admirable that you're able to use your position to do that, because a lot of artists, they kind of think, I'm not representing anything, I'm just doing me, I'm just doing this and that, and there's really, it's not really our place to tell them what to do. But at the same time,
if you can use your celebrity, you can use your, to highlight good things.
Right. So I really commend you for that.
Thank you.
And so a little bit more about the album.
Yes.
Before we leave for today.
Yep.
Where can we find the album? There's a very new distribution method that we heard about last night. And,
well, the album is actually going to be, it's going to be available on iTunes October 9th.
Right.
So from October 9th, you'll be able to go to iTunes, you'll be able to buy the album and download it, because everybody has an MP3 player and an iPod and everything else. And then the street date is October 16th. So that's when the actual album, physically, the CD, will be out in all the stores everywhere. It's not just going to be in the little stores with the HMV and everything. It's going to be everywhere. So that's that's my focus at this point, just making sure I let people know, and the excitement is out there. People, even on my MySpace page, which is myspace.com/Alison Hinds, I go into my inbox and I check my emails and people like, you know, I'm loving the music, can't wait for the album, when the album coming out, you know. And it's good that there's that excitement and that buzz for the album. And I really want people to, I hope that, you know, my fans, old and new, are gonna go out there and really support the album and buy it legally. You know, legally. Go in the stores and purchase it, go on iTunes and download it legally, pay for it, and enjoy it.
Right.
You know, I'm very, very happy with the way the album came out. I'm excited about it. It's gotten a lot of good feedback, and I just hope that my fans love it. That's the bottom line right there. That the fans are gonna go pick it up and that they're gonna stick it in. They're gonna be like, yeah, I love this album. I'm gonna go buy one for my friend and for my mother and so many of my, and even the younger fans. You know, they're like, my mother loves you and my dad loves you, and it's so good. You know, it makes me feel really, really good, and I feel like I'm achieving something good in that I'm having a positive influence on people, and that's very important to me, especially my daughter, who's only 3 right now, and she already has a couple of favorites off the album. So
wow, that's awesome. So she got the previews before us.
Oh, long time.
All right. Wow. Well, it's great having you with us, Alison, and yes, tune in next time for another episode of Action Network News. I'm Dwight Best, your correspondent, and we'll see you next time. Peace. It's great having you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
What is that mission statement? No? Let's be mission statements to increase the number of culturally.
All right. Good evening. What's up, man? Check this out. My name is Kareem, aka Special K. We're in the building right now. We just had a mass meeting right now, getting to kick off the 2007-08 campaign. Just want to talk to y'all about some dancehall and hip hop trends right now. You know, dancehall and hip hop is intertwining, become a universal culture in music today. And right now, y'all know about the Spider-Man, which is really dancehall, but hip hop kind of has their own versions all created. Superman is the big thing right now, you know what I mean? The new thing right now is the Batman, and the same thing with dancehall right now. Most of the times, you know, dancehall music are generated towards the men, you know what I mean? Anyone will tell you that. Hip hop is gonna follow the same trend. So that's what I'm letting y'all know right now, first time exclusive, end of September, you heard it from me. The new dance in hip hop is gonna be the Wonder Woman. I'm letting y'all know right now. So all the ladies right there in hip hop land, recognize it, know it. Wonder Woman, YouTube, MySpace it, Facebook that, know it, we're out.
Les cheveux des noirs, là, c'est différent des cheveux. Moi, là, j'ai souvent des problèmes.
Il y a un magazine qui s'appelle Muslim Girl.
Ouais.
Il faut connaître ce magazine qui s'appelle quoi? Black Girl.
Yeah. Oui. Mais des fois, t'as pas toujours les styles pour les cheveux naturels. Il y en a. Merci.
Vraiment, Dwight.
A last word? What can I say? Plug, shameless plug. Okay. Let me say thank you for all the support I've had over the years, from my years of Square One through till now. I'm going to do my best to produce the best possible music I can, continue to do, and please don't forget, go out and get my album. It's my first solo album called Soca Queen, iTunes, October 9th, Street Day, October 16th. Go get it.
Nigeria.